Yeah, if you want to fix your analogy, instead of going with Fred Phelps building up next to Matthew Shepard, pick a random Baptist church and do it.
So Fred Phelps is special. He's
My God, you're being thick.
Yeah,
I said replace Fred Phelps in your analogy. Hang on, I said replace
Fred. Why are you opposed to Fred Phelps, though? I mean, he is probably the most outspoken, jerk of the religious right.
And does he represent every Baptist alive?
No, he doesn't.
So if Fred Phelps protested at something, right, and then a week later, an entirely different Baptist church came along and said, and there's at a lot 200 yards away from where that protest took place, said, we want to put up a church here. Are you going to be up in arms and say, oh, I see through your agenda. You're one of those sneaky Baptists, just like Mr. Fred Phelps?
Well, being a former Baptist, actually, I would say yeah, because they would.
Then you're an idiot.
Now, I don't know if you've noticed this, but there is a lot of people who will apologize for the extreme actions of the extremist wing. They'll say, well, yeah, it's wrong that they did that, but you got to understand why they did it. And they'll apologize for it. Now, Imam Rauf, he did say he threatened violence if the Park 51 Cordoba house.
No, he never did.
No, he didn't.
No, he did not.
The Islamic world would explode with violence. Now,
that's not a threat.
That's not a threat.
Now, suppose.
All right. How about you get your news from news sources instead of conspiracy sources? And how about you actually think about this? Because you constructed a horribly flawed analogy, and when we point it out, you just keep coming back to it. And also, your entire point is irrelevant because what we've said, first of all, is that our position on the mosque has nothing to do with, is no relation to our position on Islam. We are actually being objective in our assessment here because I would personally rather never see another church built for the rest of my life, church, civic center, mosque, whatever, for the rest of my life. I'd rather see every penny of that go to people who actually fucking need it.
Okay, if I can just make one calm point real quickly. My whole issue is this: if when people act like jerks in the name of religion, it's like when Christians do it, you're more than willing to call them on it. It's
sure.
Like, but no, like okay, Fred Phelps. Okay, sorry. When he acts like a jerk, you're willing to call him on it. It's legal for him to protest funerals, but it's being a jerk about it. But if Muslims do something, it's always with the best intentions.
See,
and it's always a good thing.
Hang on, let me stop you right there. And
You've never criticized.
No,
you are so completely. You're done, by the way. I'm going to put you on hold so you can hear me ream your ass out because, first of all, I go after Fred Phelps when he's wrong, and I support his ass completely when he's right, like when they slashed his tires and wouldn't replace him the other day. And when Islam and clerics and Muslims go out and do something, I oppose that as well, and I support them when they're right. This is what you don't seem to understand, that I don't care whether or not they were building a mosque or a bomb factory. If it's legal, it's legal. And you go after the illegal things in a different way. And for you to pretend that atheists are somehow taking it easy on Islam, when, for example, Sam Harris just the other day made the brilliant point of saying that we only talk about these things with relation to Islam because there's no Reform Judaism version of Islam, and we don't talk about them with regard to Amish and stuff, that we recognize a demonstrable threat here, and that we talk about it. It's just...
And here's the distinction that you are deliberately obfuscating, and this is where you are being deliberately dishonest. You first try to make your analogy to Fred Phelps. You say, well, Fred Phelps does something, you call him on it. Then, when you shift over to talking about 9/11 and the mosque and what have you, you go from an individual to a group. You go from Fred Phelps to Muslims. And that is where the dishonesty in your whole attempt to make an analogy is happening.
That's it.
Okay?
Yep.
One group of Muslims associated with a terrorist organization committed an act of war 9 years ago. Bad shit. We were certainly all over it when it happened. We were very critical, and we have been, if you know anything at all about us, and if you've read the blog, if you've listened to this program, we were coming down on the Taliban and the Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden and all the rest of it. We were coming down on those guys for all of their crap and their oppression of women and what have you long before September 11th, 01.
The problem here is that you have uncritically accepted claims, and when we don't object to what somebody supposedly said, you think that we're taking it easy on them, when instead we're just not idiotic enough to buy into what we're being fed and go around spreading lies about people. The guy did not threaten violence. He talked about the real possibility of violence. There's a difference, and if you don't recognize that, that's part of the problem. And it would be asinine for me to come on here and start saying the stuff that you think I should be saying. And if you don't like it, don't watch.
Yes.
I don't mind.
And again, to claim that we are not willing to criticize a certain group, we are willing to attack a group of Muslims who do a thing.
No. And that's the other thing. It's not we're attacking a group. We're attacking ideas and actions that people take.
Let's say an organization.
Yeah.
One Muslim organization, and then when an entirely different Muslim organization decides they want to build a mosque, the fact that we can make a distinction between those two organizations, even though they both do claim the same religion.
Yeah.
And the motives between those two organizations. Now, if you have some sort of evidence that, this group building Park 51 is exactly the same group, the Al Qaeda, they're directly affiliated with Al Qaeda, and I know that there are a lot of conspiracy theories trying to claim that. But don't come here with some bullshit saying that, we're not willing to go after Muslims because you just haven't been paying attention to us if that's what you think.
Or anybody else. I mean,
and your argument is...
Look at every one of the top atheists. All they've been doing lately is going after Muslims. You guys are afraid to go after Islam. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Next.
Again, just do a search for Islam on the Atheist Experience blog and look at some of the stuff I've written.
Yeah, next.